All right. Here we go.
Welcome to this week's feature premiere. We'll be talking about presentation, commentary, March to October, and all things franchise mode. I'm joined by
There's
Kirby
a lot
and
of
Drew,
things, and I don't
later
like
I'll
that.
be joined by Clayton and Timothy. Kirby and Drew, how you guys doing today?
Good.
Doing great.
How are you doing?
Happy to be here.
I'm lovely. Can't wait to talk about all of the wonderful things that have been added to the presentation and commentary aspect of the game. So should we just jump right in?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So before we start talking about commentary and presentation, Kirby and Drew, introduce yourselves because we have a lot of new fans who's probably watching this for the first time. How long you been at the studio and what it is exactly
Been here for
you do the
95
team?
years.
Yeah, my name's Drew Irvin. I'm the game design manager, overseeing a lot of the presentation and commentary. I've been here since 2019, so loving every minute of
4
it.
years. Nice.
Kirby, what about you?
Yeah, my name's Kirby. I've been here now. This is going to be, 23 will be the 12th game that I've
Everybody
worked
knows
on.
Kirby St. John.
It'll be the show game.
What up, Shadow?
And, yeah, so, been doing my whole career here, and I've been largely responsible for the commentary in the game and overseeing those efforts for I think the last 8 years potentially. I think that's right. 8
And you've
years.
been leaking legends for the last 6.
Ah, I did that one time. One time.
So
and I will
we
never
getting
live
any,
it, and
we
I'll
getting
never
any
live it
legend
down.
leaks from Kirby today?
No, you will not.
Oh,
Because
that's unfortunate.
Stephen Haas will not be happy.
Will not be happy. Steven's over here waving his
Yeah.
head like, no.
Yeah, he
don't
pre-warns
do
me
it."
every year about it.
Yeah, we'll
and,
cut all
yeah,
this
I won't
out.
live that one
Well,
down.
let's get right into
No one
it.
cares.
Audio has
All right.
changed quite a bit in MLB The Show 23.
Yeah, we know about
What's
this a little
changed?
bit. They've teased
Yeah, I
this
think
already.
Right off the bat, no pun intended. The bat cracks, the glove pops, all the nuance
Here we go.
sounds that you hear have really gone to the next level. We've been in major
30
league
minutes of
parks,
new glove
we've been in minor
sounds,
league
yep.
Parks. We went to the MLB scouting combine here at Petco Park. Just really picking up like all the different kind of audio that comes from a real life baseball game, and just spent a ton of time to get that down to whether you're making solid contact or a foul ball, or the first baseman's catching the ball, or you're catching a grounder. Like, those are
Immersion.
all going to sound different.
Or ricochets off of the catcher equipment.
Ricochets, foul tip off the ump's mask. Like, we've got sounds
Or a
for
ricochet
everything
off
you can
the
imagine.
So
pitcher.
if you've been playing the tech tests, you've probably noticed some of these sounds, but let's take a second and listen to them.
Like, the sounds sound good, man. They do, but it's like, I guess at the same time, who gives a shit? Like, we'll hear them when we get the game. Like, I don't know if it's just, I don't know. I just don't get hyped for this stuff. Yeah, for the 9 audiophiles who play this game.
This all sounds fantastic.
It is nice, yeah.
It's been a lot of work.
Sounds good.
Just to add on to that too, we also have 30 team chants. We have team chants from all the stadiums.
Oh,
You're
that's
gonna
pretty
hear a lot
cool.
More of the fans getting into the game, and those are location specific. So no matter what stadium you're in, you're going to hear the chants that the fans of each of those teams will be very familiar with.
That's pretty nice.
We also recorded a ton of fan yells, so you're going to hear more cheering and jeering from the crowd.
I mean, just go to a Yankees
and like I mentioned,
stadium,
just-
like, and
we were in a
just
lot
listen
of
to Yankees
real-life
fans. Put
stadiums
that in there.
capturing these sounds,
You'll
and
get
just
all-
wanted to shout out
You'll
our
get
audio
the
team,
full
led by Kurt.
range of
Andy did a great job. Omar Steve
crowd
Austin
screams.
just killed it this year with
Yeah.
all the crowd audio.
Trying to get more variety and more authenticity,
The
right?
sheer amount of recording that they did this year for all of the sound effects you mentioned, wide range, everything in the game was just immense amount of recording.
So we've talked about audio. Let's jump to animations, but not gameplay animations, presentation animations.
Where there's hundreds
presentation
of them,
animations,
hundreds of
and,
new ones.
It was one of our busiest years ever in the motion capture studio. I know I saw you over there a couple times, Ramon. We did a lot of our normal player captures, but we really took it to the next level this year. As you'll see in the Negro League experience, we were in there doing a lot of the presentations that you've mentioned in the past. So for me personally, those were really fun.
Yeah,
to
the
work
extra
on,
sounds. Yeah, that's kind
throughout
of where
the
I'm
full
at too,
process,
Meatball. It's
from
like the extra sounds are
capturing
nice,
to
but it's
putting
like
them into the games and just
I don't
seeing
know,
the
I just don't
moments
care
that-
about that.
Bob
Like, I-
Kendrick describes in his videos come to life within those
presentation
So
stuff.
that
Like
was
I'm
really
there
special to
for.
me, and it was just a fun thing to work
But just
on.
like baseball sounding like baseball,
that,
like that's. I
you
mean,
know, we just
it's a baseball
especially, you
game.
know,
It should
jazz
sound like
on the
baseball.
cover. We wanted to bring more player emotion into our game. Some of the stuff that you see in real life, in Major League Baseball, we just wanted the user to feel that both, you know, highs and lows. So we
Oh,
captured
that's a
just
nice celly right there.
variety of high leverage situations, more walk-off home runs, but also the agony of defeat with the pitcher walking off the field.
So more positive and negative.
Ah,
You're just
okay.
gonna hopefully see that reaction, both like I said, positive and negative, and really hopefully cap off those big moments that you see with the appropriate reaction from.
So is that
from
just
A
the
little
for
off PCI
players
home
or
run
for
right there.
teams as well?
You guys
it's
see that?
Players, it's teams, it's coaches, it's fans, just to try and really like match up with what the situation is with how the players are reacting.
So
on the
let's
field.
talk about one of the really
All right, that's
cool
kinda cool.
things in the presentation realm. This new game stage.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the other thing we did. We built a stage where we can kind of pump people up, get them ready, show who the starting lineups are, do ups. We can create any scene in motion capture and put these players on this stage and kind of like flex them, show them off a little bit. So when you pop in your new Diamond Dynasty lineup, you're going to see your players kind of showing off in this stage, and we're excited about it. And there's a lot of fun stuff.
Yep, and you're going to see this new audio and animation all over the game. Exhibition.
I'm
go to
sorry.
the
That
show,
just looks
franchise
really.
mode,
That
down,
just looks
down,
really
all over the
weird.
place, right?
definitely, yep.
What about from the art side? Any changes to the themes?
Yeah, I mean, I know we got some great feedback in
Wow!
the past from the community about what our art team's been doing the last couple cycles, and honestly, they
There we
continue
are.
to surprise me even with what they're pumping out, and this year's no different. Theme 1, we've always tried to pump that big game national feel, and we took that a step farther. We even branded a game of the week this year, so you'll have game of
Nice.
the week branding for the best matchup in season modes of that week.
Okay.
Global Baseball League is what the mini seasons league is called, and we branded that as well to kind of make you feel like you're in a unique.
Oh, so you have
league.
specific art and presentations just for mini seasons.
Exactly. Yep.
Nice.
That's kind of
That'll
cool.
be all branded.
I like that.
And then theme 2 is what I'm probably most excited about. Honestly, I think the community really enjoyed the team specific stuff that we brought to them, and we took that a step farther this year. We created like regional networks for each team, so those will be branded. I'm a Mariners fan, so when I play with the Mariners, it'll say the show Northwest, because it's kind of trying to
Nice.
reenact kind of that regional sports network feel. So we leaned even farther into that. We have tons of elements to back that up. So those are kind of our two themes again.
Some of the shots from outside the
City
stadium
Connect is
looking at are
obviously
actually
an exciting
really
thing
nice.
across baseball right now, so we leaned farther into that. So you actually now when you choose your City Connect, it also transitions into the OSD. So those will be colored. When you're San Diego, it might be the bright pink that you see when they're
Okay.
wearing their colors. Or
That's
you can see
actually
a lot
these
of
are
that.
small touches that I think are really cool.
So City Connect
Like this is
uniform stuff.
this is all really nice.
fall through in a lot of the other
Things that
elements.
you're
And
gonna
you got
see
some new home
every
run
single.
animations too, right?
Yeah, people seem to like those as well. So
Oh.
when you see the home run rounding scenes for both scenes, they're different and they're really special. Our guy Matt on the 3D artwork has just been killing it, and he had another really fun cycle this year. So.
What about milestones? Like when players hit different milestones, anything new we're going to see that from a presentation aspect?
Yeah, just a bigger payoff. When you're playing modes for a long time and you're hitting these 3,000 hits or 700 home runs, we wanted there to be a little bit bigger of a payoff. So we built OSDs just specifically to pay off those big moments.
And if you watch the game sizzle trailer, you probably noticed something else new: pre-game flyovers.
Yeah, we knew we were missing flyovers, so I think everybody loves a good flyover. So we've got a variety of aircraft that'll get you excited for opening day, All-Star Game, World Series,
Cool.
big moments like that.
What about jumbotrons? Any new animations in jumbotrons?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a while since we updated our jumbotrons. We knew we had a lot of work to do, so we have hundreds of new jumbotron, videos, laser ribbons. The whole, I think it really brings a different feel to the entire stadium. With all the great work that our group did there, so
These are all this is
really
all kind of
killed
cool.
it,
I mean, this is all.
with
I
the
do like all
jumbotrons,
this.
and
I'm not
it's
gonna
pretty
lie.
fun just to see in the background, and it really
All
makes
these small
the
things that
stadium
make
feel-
presentation
That's not
kind
it.
of stick
Like,
out is
even-
nice.
Is there the notification system for Road to the Show? What's changed there?
Yeah, just you'll see in Road to the Show, there'll be. We kind of just organized it better, right, and put everything in the upper left. It just helps you kind of like have a place to look when you're wondering, what kind of feedback did my player get on that last play. Just a general place to look instead of
Well,
having to
pretty-
figure out, where
Where
on
it
the screen
is.
to look. So I think it's going to be just one of those things
What up,
that
Blue?
maybe just makes life simpler for the user to just know where to look.
That sounds great. What about the ticker? Since we're talking about season modes, what about the in-game ticker for for Road to the Show and for franchise?
Yeah, our fans seem to love the ticker, especially in season modes, where did a really good job of just bringing the storylines that are happening,
highlighting
in
things.
your franchise or your March to October
Mhm.
onto the ticker. So we've leaned farther into that. We've done a lot with player projections now too. So earlier in the season, we can kind of project how some of the star players are gonna do, and guess who the Cy Young candidates are going to be, or MVP candidates are going to be, and it's just a really fun way to immerse yourself in the storylines of that season.
Oh, this
mode.
is going to be music to the season
Okay.
mode players' ears. Kirby, how
That's
do you
actually-
feel about
that's
all
actually
of
really
these
cool.
changes to audio, animation, and art?
Yeah, this is all about
presentation?
franchise
I can't tell
presentation.
you,
March to
how
October.
impressive it is, honestly, to see some of the things that have come out of the presentation team this year. I mean, and in all of those areas, the presentation team, it's a big umbrella, and it covers a lot of different areas of the game, animation, graphics, audio, a lot of different things, and it's really impressive to see what the team's pulled together this year. I mean, the art stuff that Drew's named off so many things just in the art realm that are just like so well done. Like the art itself is just so well crafted, and it just catches your eye. And in that way, I really think that our presentation looks better than it's ever looked by far. And it looks more authentic, professional, and like to the quality of what you would expect to see, and even beyond on like a real broadcast.
Nice. And Drew, what is your favorite new feature when it comes to audio, art, and presentation?
I got to say, one thing that we haven't mentioned that I'm really excited about is we selected some specific teams to have their stadium exteriors built out. So like one thing, I'm a Mariners fan, so when I'm in Seattle,
it's not
I like
for all of
that
them, it's
feel
just for
where
select
you
ones.
see the outside of the stadium when you're walking up. So we picked some stadiums, built out the outside of them. So you see that outside shot that really like brings you into
Is
that
Seattle
city.
one of them?
Of course.
Okay, so see the bias? see
I
the bias?
definitely saw the bias.
That's
See the bias?
Yeah,
that's a
Did San Diego
slight
Padres
bummer.
get one?
That's only some of them.
Maybe.
Maybe. see, this is what we be talking about, man. We can't be having all this bias out here.
Before we move on, I gotta say, like, to Kirby's point with our art team, they've been doing a great job, and I just got to shout out John G.
But I guess
Daniel
some's
Tate,
better than none.
Franz, Reed, Matt.
But those
and
are all
Kevin,
pretty cool.
because they just pumped out some unbelievable stuff this year. And then I skipped over it earlier on the animation side, but Chris Clements and James and Noah
And probably
Nolan
just time.
and Lauren for helping to put everything together.
Yeah,
Or
and
some of
Kirby
the
and
outsides of
Drew
stadiums
for-
might not
for-
be
for
worth a shit.
getting in that suit. 'Cause
But
we
it's
had
probably
so
a lot
many
of time.
animations
We did
needed to
a- we
get
did
for
a
the real
lot
name
of
So
of
only
the
do like the
yeah,
big
we did
ones,
a
big
lot
teams,
of
you know?
mocap.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Drew mentioned in storylines, all the animations you see, the very vast majority of them, like 98%, are brand new animations and presentations. We wanted to make sure that these players looked and performed the way that they would. They're not super expressive. They don't get too down, but they still do, exhibit some emotion. And so it was a very, very big undertaking for Chris Clements and the entire animation team to record so many
I'm
new
sure.
animations, and we can't wait for everybody to try
I'm
it.
sure, Sekra, like
So
you
we
gotta,
talked about art,
you gotta do a
audio,
lot of stuff. You have
animation,
to go to the
all of
stadium.
these
You
new
probably have
changes
to
and features coming to
picture
the
reference,
presentation
and I'm sure they
aspect
probably
of
like
MLB
drone it
Show.
and maybe take some
New
like aerial
sounds,
data
glove
for
pops,
it. And
back cracks,
then you have to
footsteps,
recreate the whole thing. I'm
ricochets
sure
off of
it's a
player
lot of
equipment,
time.
New animations. This new stage, I can't wait for everybody. We can't wait for you to see this new stage for lineups and special presentations. It is amazing. We've talked about art, a new theme. The themes continue to get more work. What'd you say? You added a new game of the week and Global Baseball League branding. Like, there's so much going on.
Sure,
in presentation.
that's all. This
So,
is all pretty
we're
good.
going to
This is
jump
good stuff
over
for
to
immersion in the
commentary
presentation
changes.
side.
Kirby, every year our commentary team is hard at work improving the commentary.
We're not too far in.
hears in the game. This year is no different. So, Kirby, let's talk about some of the commentary updates for our fans.
So this will be the second year that we have Boog Shambi and Chris Singleton in the game. We're really excited to have a new commentary team in the game last year for the first time in 16 years.
16
so
years.
A new play-by-play, completely new team.
I miss Matty V.
I
miss
that was
him.
a huge undertaking.
I
So,
miss him, dude.
Main focus this year was to continue to add to the depth and variety of what Boog and Singing are offering
Continue
in the
to
commentary.
build that database back up.
Exactly. He's, working really hard on that.
I thought
That
he was
the
getting
main-
stale
that was,
after a
of
while,
course,
but now
the
that he's
main
not here, I'm
focus.
like,
And
I miss
then,
him.
you guys have talked a lot about, so a lot of the mode support the presentation is focused on. Well, of course, commentary is a part of that as well. Specifically, we talk about things like the Negro Leagues project and mini seasons. We've been able to, really, really hone in on those modes and put together some really specific commentary to kind of build those worlds out. Of course, in the Negro League, it's about expanding on the stories and of these players and of the Negro Leagues. And Ben Gelman-Chomsky did an incredible job researching and continuing to build those stories out for the players. So really excited about the way that turned out. And in mini seasons, it's a fictional league, it's a fictional baseball world, and Drew mentioned that we branded the Global Baseball League.
And another ball. Chris, we've seen relocation take place in the Global Baseball League. The Lemurs moved away from Madagascar before landing in Lima. You think we'll ever see league expansion instead of just relocation?
Well, that's a good question, and I think I know the answer. My guess would be yes.
Well, so we wanted to make sure that
Okay.
the commentary reflects that there's
All right.
kind of this fantasy global baseball
That was
world
stupid,
we
but
have a lot of
pretty cool.
specialized commentary for that mode as well that we're excited
Yes,
about.
shout out to Ben.
Agreed,
Shout
Bug
out to
Jug.
Ben. He did some really difficult work.
Yeah, and Jordan Caruth was mainly focused on the stuff for the mini seasons or for the Global Baseball League and did a really good job on that as well.
So, Kirby, you mentioned, one of the big things was continued mode support and just continuing to build up this catalog and database of audio. Because, like you said, they've been doing this for 2 years. We replaced 16 years of commentary. So it's going to take some time to build that back up. You want to elaborate a little bit?
Absolutely. I mean, the main, like I said, the main focus was going to be, looking at all of the areas where we were, where we might have been a little bit thin or where we wanted to, add more content, add more analysis, add more conversation, which I know we're going to talk about a little bit in a second, but basically just kind of add to the depth and the variety.
Having
of
them
what
more
you're
in
gonna
depth for like the
experience there.
storylines
So
of the actual season would be
that's
good
in
too.
all
Kind of like how
areas.
NBA 2K
The thing
does.
with commentary is you've got every type of play-by-play, hit calls, pitch calls, foul balls, ground, everything.
It's a
in
lot of
between,
work.
base results, all the. There's so many different things that
NBA
can happen
2K is
when the
undefeated
ball's put in play.
in that
But then
in that
you've
form.
also got the analysis side of things, of breaking down the pitches, breaking down the situations, the base hits, the home runs, and you have the stuff where they're the kind of the in between, the filler stuff, the conversational stuff, the informative stuff. So it's wide ranging, and so really all of those areas.
And even
we're touching.
audio names. We didn't take your name out the game to make anybody mad on purpose.
No, we did not.
You have to understand,
No, we don't do that.
they've been doing this for 2 years. We're replacing 16 years worth of data. It's going to take some time.
Yep.
We will eventually have all of the names re-recorded, but it's going to take some time because we don't have a time machine,
Right.
and we still have about 9.
That's a great thing
months.
about video
We have
games,
a
Olivier.
lot-
You can
know,
just
we
hop
have-
into it and learn it as you
We
go.
work very hard in recording. Of course, Boog and Singy come here to San Diego, and we record elsewhere as well. But we have
Don't we have footage
limited,
of them?
we do have some footage of them here. Yes, I believe. And but we have limited hours as well. We have to, we have a lot to cover in those times. So
We got Jack
definitely
and
try
Coke
to
right
add
there?
as
Where's
many, create player
What
names,
you got in there?
last names back in
Huh?
as we could.
Little
like
Jack
you
and
said,
Coke?
It's a process.
Jack and Coke for the boys?
16 years worth of names building up over time. We've got thousands and thousands of names.
Thousands
So
of names.
we tried to be
re-recorded.
smart about how we prioritize them, and we want to try to continue to get as many of those names in there for all of you as we can.
Hold on, Kirby. Isn't one of y'all's name wasn't in the game, or we had to re-record it? Was it Drew's?
Drew thought his name wasn't in the game. He thought I left his name out,
I did. I
but
was pretty
he
upset.
actually just didn't. He actually just didn't find it.
He just didn't.
and I
find
had
it.
to show him how to find it.
I spelled my
Yeah.
name wrong.
Did he get an apology after you found your name?
Not yet.
Not yet. Wow, we holding grudges over here. Development team. So Kirby, you mentioned mode support. Mini seasons. What's happening there?
Yeah, so in mini seasons, like Drew mentioned, we branded, the Global Baseball League, and we tried to make a lot of effort there. Well, in the commentary side, we wanted to kind of, get you a little bit more immersed in the world of the Global Baseball League and kind of the unique qualities of that league. Obviously, teams being in Lima and in Liechtenstein, and I hope Ben thinks I pronounced that correctly.
It sounded like you did.
Liechtenstein. So we wanted to really,
Bad throw.
add to the fun of that mode, with kind of the unique qualities of that, and of course, also
I mean, it is
diving
kind of
into
cool
some of
that
the
they
stat tracking that's going on.
all
in
branding
the
for this.
mode,
That's actually kind of cool.
So yeah, we're just excited about just having more coverage in that world. And so yeah, with the mini seasons commentary, Jordan Caruth worked really hard on that, and something he can be proud of.
Nice. And you mentioned Ben's name, and Ben had a very impossible, difficult task of writing all of the commentary for the Negro Leagues and storylines.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we collaborative effort, of course, with your team, working on the Negro Leagues project. But Ben, was really excited to take that task on, and put in an incredible amount of time researching and finding more information and stories about the players that we're showcasing in year one.
There's the pitcher wall.
We wanted of
Let's
the
go.
He's the one with the knowledge and the stories, but we wanted to be able to add to that in
Let's
moments
go,
while
dude.
we're playing the game. And
So glad they
continue to tell the
showcased
great
that.
stories of these players. So Ben did an incredible job with that. And Bhugan Singhi had a lot of fun with the content as well. So we've got specific play-by-play for all of those players and for some of the special parts of the moments that you're going to be playing, and then of course conversations that are really elaborating.
Because the commentaries,
on those
it's actually different in storylines. We kind of break the fourth wall a little because Boog and Singhi are kind of along on this journey with you, learning as these players. So it's not really structured like they would be commentating a normal game, because they're giving you facts.
Doing good. Waiting for the meat and potatoes of this
players because
stream.
they're along this journey with you, learning. So it sounds really good.
This is like a little
snippet of that during the storylines feature premiere. We can't wait for everybody to hear
teaser.
More to get to play the mode.
That's right. Yeah, and we wanted it to be something where it's like, yeah, they're calling the action and they're calling the play, but we're also not trying to say like, oh, they're there
appetizer.
in that moment. They're there and they're kind of like getting to relive it and watch it and then also tell those stories of the players.
You hear about a lot of guys who are 2 or 3 sports stars in college. Jackie Robinson, a 4 sports star. He was a Division I standout in baseball, basketball, football, and track.
Jesus, really? I actually didn't know that. Holy shit.
0-2 now.
Oh, fuck, dude.
Fastball almost got him there. And I think we can all be.
I knew he was an athlete. I didn't know he was Div 1 for all, for 4 sports.
It couldn't have matched his achievements on the diamond. And that's a base hit.
Yeah, dropping some more facts on you. You're going to learn
shit.
so much in that mode. And speaking about conversations, how much of a focus was it to get more conversational content?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, commentary is there's lots of different areas of commentary. There's the play-by-play, there's the color, and then of course the conversational stuff is needed to kind of bridge the
That's
gap.
Gotta be
between
hard to
those
do.
things and also not have it be just all about the play-by-play. So we really wanted to focus a lot on conversations this year.
How do you tell them
We
just to
built
have a
really
conversation?
good system for conversations last year in year 1 with Bhugan Singhi, and we wanted to really utilize that system that's working behind the scenes to drive those conversations. We wanted to really get a lot more depth, focusing on players' stories, the information that of what players, where they've come from and what they've done in their career, and just interesting facts about the players. A lot of research went into that. And Jordan Caruth, I mentioned before, he did a lot of research on that sort of stuff. We also have a lot of stuff that's going to be dynamically driven, conversation stuff that's going to then change, about the players as you go through road to the show, your franchise. And that
See,
sort of
now that's
stuff,
the
so
stuff
we're gonna
that-
be able to, update.
That's the stuff that they lack.
How many years
that
players have been in the league and what awards they've won.
would be good to have
and all
in
that sort of stuff
more
as
season,
well.
more
Especially in
season mode
franchise.
specific commentary.
Right,
more
that'll be
future-facing
dynamic,
stuff,
right.
So it stays up to date. Drew, what are you really most excited about when it comes to commentary this year?
Yeah, kind of that, like what Kirby said. I think there's just a lot more depth, and like it feels like the knowledge about what's happening in your game, in your league, on your team.
I mean, this stuff's all
with your
nice,
road to
but
the
it's
show
like
player, we're
these
just
are
a
things that
little
you
more
kind of
aware.
expect.
And to Kirby's
And
point,
it would
with
have been
those player
nice to
effects, dude,
see
it's great
like
to lean
a little
on
bit more
players who've
example of
been
that.
around Major League Baseball and on
Because right now
Major
it's just
League
like,
Baseball
yeah,
fields for so
there's
long
more depth.
that they
It's
can
like,
add, their own anecdotes and
Okay.
stuff. And I learned new stuff just by playing.
like this is all
the
stuff
game
that you
and
just
listening to what
expect,
they're talking
like
about with certain
to be
players.
built on.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Year
Like,
over
I
year.
think that, able to lean on, two really professional announcers that know the sport and know the league very, very
Some
well.
of the
so,
mode specific stuff's
vast
actually really
majority
cool
of
though.
that content's not scripted out. Of course, we're working with them in the recording sessions and directing and whatnot, but really, allowing them to, speak about the players and talk about the things that they know about them and what they appreciate about them.
Yeah, they're adding the color to the commentary.
That's well said.
Yeah, so like Kirby and Drew mentioned, doesn't matter where you're playing this year in terms of commentary.
All right, we're
whether
only
you're in Road to the
25 minutes
Show,
in.
Franchise mode, exhibition, storylines.
Looks like
mini-seasons,
commentary
or
is done.
Diamond Dynasty, a lot of focus.
So all we have
on
left
making
is
sure you have
franchise
way more
and
content
March to
that really
October.
make you feel engulfed in those modes, because at the end of the
For
day,
an
we're
hour.
trying to make the best video game possible.
Roughly, they
Audio
said
is a
about
very,
90 minutes. It
very,
could be
very big
80,
important part
and
of
they
it.
just said
Yeah, and a
90
good
minutes.
example of that
Oh,
is
nope, not yet.
something what we're calling a basic offensive analysis. So
Shit,
regardless
not
of
yet.
what mode you're in, we want to be focusing on
Still
on
going.
how the offenses are performing as a whole, as a lineup in the game, and utilizing some more advanced statistics and numbers to then have those discussions about how that an offense is doing, both good and bad within that game.
Welcome back. Bottom of the fourth. And here's the
There we go.
first
Some
baseman,
examples.
Jake Cronenworth. And that one fouled off.
These Padres, as this game goes on, have to be more disciplined at the plate. So many of their outs have come from weak contact on pitches they're chasing outside of the strike zone. You can't do much of anything with those locations, and that's been true again today.
So that was something that we spent a lot of time on and really focused on the ability to kind of branch that conversation out, look at specific stats and numbers, and kind of provide those updates throughout a game. So again, whether if you're in Diamond Dynasty, you're going to be hearing that same thing, but you're also going to be hearing it in franchise, Road to the Show, and that sort of stuff. And the other thing with that offensive analysis, it's meant to be helpful to you, the user. So if you're hearing the analysis about your team and your offense, and you're hearing that like there's you're struggling, or the offense is struggling because they already had 8 first pitch outs, swinging that first pitch too much, or if the chase rate's really high, those types of things can kind of be kind of a hints to maybe things,
Don't
adjustments
suck.
to be made, for you to kind of
Hints to you to not
help your
suck.
offense perform better. Or the flip
Hey,
side,
stop
if you're hearing
sucking.
it about your opponent, kind of hearing a little bit about what's working, what's not working, and in terms of getting outs.
Nice. To sum it all up, like how would you sum up
Oh.
MLB The Show 23's presentation
let's sum it up.
commentary suite?
Sum it up. Move on.
It's our best.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I think it's absolutely our best yet. All the things that Drew mentioned visually are just really stunning, and something that you can pick up on right away when you're looking at the game, or if you play the tech test, or you're looking at any of the videos that we're putting out. Like, you can see a lot of these things right away, and it definitely adds a lot of professionalism, I think, to what we're doing.
Thanks, guys, for your time. Anything else you want to
Okay.
add?
I just want to say
Still,
thank you.
got
to
about
our
an hour.
team. Specifically the guys I work with on commentary,
This could be big.
Sean Sparbori, Ben,
This could be
Jordan I
big.
mentioned, Scott DeLuca, Justin Kranz, a new addition. Like, we've been, it's a big time team effort.
Watch it be only 20 minutes, and they lie to us.
It really does take everybody. Heather Simmons as well.
Not
It
yet.
was
I'm sure it's
so
coming
much
though, Les.
transcribing of the
You'll be able to use
content
face
make sure
scan
it's
in
all ready
franchise
for
mode.
closed captioning, and
Pull up by
she
3.
really edits a lot for us as well. So it's a big team effort, and I just want to thank all of them for their continued professionalism and effort.
Yeah, I named a lot of the key contributors earlier as well, and just a thank you to them. And I mentioned I think it's our best ever, and it's because the detail and the ambition that people on our team have to making it the best.
We have deleted
and
franchise
just,
and
you know,
moved
our
it over to March to
continued pursuit
October.
of perfection on the presentation and commentary team. We're gonna keep getting better and keep delivering.
5 minutes of bat sounds.
Really, really impressive.
We already got some glove sounds
So we
already.
want to thank Kirby and Drew for joining us, talking about presentation and commentary. But we're not done. We're going to join in Mr. Timothy Barnes and
Yes.
Clayton to talk about March to October
Yes.
and franchise mode.
Yes.
Control room calling here. Time for a quick intermission before
Please,
we
no
move on to
filler.
franchise and March October. Go grab a snack or refill a beverage, stand up, and stretch out those legs for a couple seconds as we
Thanks,
have
Colin.
over an hour with Clayton and Tim talking about everything coming to franchise in March October, including the new draft and scouting system.
God.
If you haven't already, make sure that your account is linked to carry your progress across all the platforms that you play MLB The Show 23 on.
That's right.
And if you're watching on Twitch, make sure you link your Twitch account so you
Get
can
those
earn Twitch
drops.
drops just by watching live streams. Head over to theshow.com to learn more.
We
all
gotta
about
farm those
account
viewers.
linking and to link your Twitch account.
Come on. I just want Colin to come in right at the end and just say, and most importantly, go fuck yourself.
Now on to Ramon, Tim, and Clayton for franchise March October. Thanks for watching this week's feature premiere.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
So we just got finished talking
All right.
about all of the presentations and commentary upgrades coming to MLB The Show 23. But we're not finished. We're going to talk about the updates coming to franchise.
Here we go.
in March to October with my
Here we
good
go.
friend Timothy and Clayton. How are y'all doing?
This is the big one.
How are you?
I am fantastic.
My man's
Tim, how you
sleepy.
doing?
I'm doing well.
So Clayton and Tim back on the stream. Clayton, tell all of our new fans out there what it is you do for the team and how long you've been here at the San Diego studio.
Well, I've been here too long to mention at this point, so we won't get into that. But I'm product owner and senior designer on franchise in March, October.
Nice. Timothy.
I'm a game designer here. I've been here for 2 years, so this is my sophomore season. Ready to go.
It's been 2 years already.
2 years.
Oh my goodness. So before we really get started, Clayton, anything you want to say?
There are a few things. I mean, we're going to jump into this new amateur draft. But when I say amateur draft, it's a bit misleading because we're talking about a new scouting system, new amateur scouting system, I should specify there. We're talking about a new draft day experience. And then we're talking
Roll out
about
the
a
Diamond
new
Dynasty
amateur signing system as well. Now, everything you're going to hear today, I want to just make this clear that it's in March to October and in franchise, unless I specifically say otherwise or Tim does. So they're in both modes. And then, so let's jump in. Now, the CBA, even before the collective bargaining agreement, which is what the CBA is, was announced, we knew there was going to be actually quite a bit of work involved there. Because we're talking about, and Tim will touch on it in a minute, we're talking about stuff like universal DH, we're talking about the new postseason format. And these things may seem like small asks and small pieces or additions to the game, but really they're part of the underlying logic of the game. And anytime the underlying logic where we built on it year after year after year, anytime we change core pieces of that, it's by no means a small ask.
There's no such thing as
It breaks 90 other things is what he's
Exactly,
trying to
especially
say.
franchise,
Because they've
the
been
logic
building on
essentially
this for
drives,
25 years.
You know, all the modes in the game, right? So just quick shout out to our engineers for the hard work they've done there with the CBA changes.
Absolutely. We have some of the best engineers that are working on our team, doing a great job. We are so impressed and happy to talk about what we've done this season. So let's jump right into CBA changes.
Let's do it.
And like Clayton had mentioned earlier, these were big lifts. First one was the Ohtani rule. This was one of those things that's been multiple years in the making. It hasn't been an easy thing, but this year Ohtani
That
will
swing
now
looks
hit
so smooth.
and pitch in the same game. And our universal DH rule is completely implemented. We now have the NL DH Silver Slugger Award winner that will be in our game. The new playoff format was added as well this year, and this, again, hitting on what Clayton had said, this was huge. This was a really big lift. We heard people, we understand that they were looking for it right away, but this became a really big adventure for us because we had to add in things like logic changes that occurred because of trades. More teams are in contention, so we had to make sure that that worked correctly. And we
Oh,
also
God,
have
not the
updated
trade
tiebreaker
logic.
for MLB and
Not
minor
the
league
trade
baseball.
logic, dude.
I'll just jump in for 1 sec. So the reason it's such a big ask is because stuff like the playoff format, it touches like in-game, it touches like presentations, audio, it touches even loading screens, let alone the front-end logic, and, so it's a big ask.
And back
Okay,
onto that,
yeah, a lot of work.
We also hit on some
Gotcha.
AAA realignments, minor league affiliations, league names. They reflect real-life changes. We've updated our CBT thresholds, which are the collective
far.
balance taxes. Our minimum salaries have been updated.
Because it's like the small things to us are gigantic things to them because the code is 20 years old. So like these are big things to them, but like to the consumer, like we don't care about this.
Touching on our draft that we're going to be talking about here in a few minutes, we moved the MLB draft to the All-Star break to reflect real life. We updated with balanced schedule, and now we have a draft lottery that takes place under the hood each offseason.
Thanks for that quick update, but we got so much to talk about. CBA changes, like you mentioned, though. Tiny rule, full implementation, new playoff format, new draft lottery, AAA realignment, and so much more. So let's get right into it.
So much more is nothing.
Franchise in March to October this year.
Just so everybody knows.
So many good things to talk about. Let's dive into some of the logic changes and improvements.
So from the logic side of things,
Here we go.
the
Come on.
player and trade metric.
Trade
it came in
logic
a few
for the
years ago.
35th year in
It's
a
been
row.
Big change to our game as far as like
right.
Trade logic.
Huge
player
change to
ranking,
trade logic.
contract systems. But
Yeah.
there was a situation that we noticed where players that were at or near their potential, it was kind of overvaluing them. So we've corrected this, and it's going to go a long way to make our trades that much better, as well as rankings and contract negotiations. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
And with that said, what I'd like to
Can't wait for
emphasize
day
is that
one.
Trades are subjective.
A
Just
double-A
like in real
player
baseball,
trading
every
for Trout.
GM,
Pretty
can
excited.
be criticized for every trade that occurs. It's the same way in our game. Our game is looking to make realistic trades and value players based on contract, potential, overall, and the position they play and the team needs that they have. So I think that we've made some good adjustments. We keep tuning, we keep tweaking. I think that we're moving in the right direction.
Sounds amazing. Some trade logic improvements, more player and trade metric improvements as well. What about roster tuning, Clayton?
Yeah, roster tuning. We did another pass on player potentials and essentially the primary positions. We didn't want any holes in rosters and lineups. And we also made some adjustments to kind of factors and coefficients, stuff that go into the overall player rankings. So they're going to be much more accurate player rankings. If you shift from shortstop to second base, you're not going to see a drastic change like you did previously. And we kind of felt that relief pitchers were overvalued, so we've tuned that down. And just globally, we've kind of shifted towards more realism, where the attributes, the overalls are more leaning towards offense versus some positions like catcher and shortstop and center field were a bit too heavily skewed towards defense in the past.
Not really, kind of.
Also, we worked on updating our market sizes to reflect some of the trends in baseball. Obviously, now you've seen what the Padres are doing in baseball. We're trying to hit on that. We opened up the Padres budget and made them more of a large market team with other adjustments. I know,
large
right?
market. What about the Mets?
We
What's
also
their
updated
market?
logic for our top 50 prospect rankings. So now you'll see what looks like to be, for us, a very realistic top 50 rankings. And one small little feature that we added as well, we noticed that we didn't have the ability to access transactions in the offseason and playoffs. We put that back into the game.
Hey, if you got the ability to access the transactions in the offseason and playoffs, that's also
Put
new.
it back. All right.
What about the amateur draft?
So the new amateur draft we'll get to, like I said, soon. But one thing I did forget to mention that is a huge part that comes along with the amateur draft is our new prospect generation logic.
Say that one more time. We got new prospect generation logic.
New prospect generation
What
logic.
does that mean, Tim?
Oh, this is going to be exciting. I'm pumped for this part. So one of the features that we've always wanted to touch on and improve was our player generation, and this includes our prospects.
One more
and
time.
this is the biggest part of our feature that we're going to talk about in a few minutes.
I will say, if they can get
We
this right,
wanted
that'd be good,
realistic
because
draft classes and distribution.
every
And what
single
that
person
means
looked
is,
about the
in
same
past,
in
we
MLB
had
The Show.
High school, we had college. Now we break it down individually by class. You are going to now see high school seniors, JUCO players. You're going to see college juniors, college seniors. You'll see them all here. And what we're going to see more.
Four-year freshmen.
Four-year freshmen. We'll see four-year freshmen. We'll even see the eligible 21-year-old sophomore in our MLB draft this year.
So we're not just going to see a draft class where everybody's 22 and 24 years old anymore.
Or 26. Or 26. That's gone.
Okay.
Those days are over. We have simulated real baseball now. You're going to see a much younger draft class.
I mean, that's a big change.
18 and 19-year-old prospects in the draft class.
Thank you. Because it was so crazy in the past to be drafting players, and you're looking at 8 potential guys. They're in low 50s.
As it should be,
yep. 22 years old.
100%.
Like, they're not going to be able
Those
to develop.
days are gone,
by the time he's 27, 28, he's
going to be
just going to be there. So this is a major
exactly.
change.
Those days are gone.
Yeah.
So just to
the
tag
draft
on
was
here, I mean,
silly.
Even though we're creating four-year freshmen and four-year sophomores, they won't be a part of the draft, but they will be there in subsequent drafts. And if you had scouted them as a high schooler, well, you can maybe draft them later as a four-year junior.
Oh, so we're going to see more prospects that aren't in this coming draft, but they'll be in subsequent drafts.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yeah.
You're going to see some.
All right.
Some,
so you can
players
scout
move
people
from
as
draft
they
class to
go.
draft class now this year instead of recycling
all right.
and completely eliminating each draft class each year. You will see prospects that are undrafted be available the next or the following year.
All right. And what about this diamond in the rough and bust logic?
Well, this is interesting because this is one of those things that I think that we've always wanted to hit on. And what I mean by that is in baseball and the real MLB draft, there's the occasional guy that slips in the draft who becomes a superstar. And you can look at an Aaron Judge type of a player. He's late rounds drafted, becomes a superstar player. And you also see those other guys that are drafted higher and they become busts.
Yeah.
We simulate that now with some logic, and we'll touch on that a little bit more when we hit into our
Can't really
our
logic
scouting
that,
feature. But you're going to see diamonds in the rough, and you're going to see busts in our game.
Okay.
When it comes to drafting injured players,
okay,
like you mentioned, we have fog of war now with injuries, but specifically, how does that play into this injury effect logic?
So the injury effect logic is kind of going to be our first piece.
Fog of war.
Fog of war that we're introducing this year. There will be a few more pieces later. Fog of war is essentially creating some mystery, some unknowns.
Something NHL does really good.
So in the draft class, there are injured players. You can draft them, but there is obviously an additional risk because after you draft them, it could turn out that their injury is long-term, which means it has a long-term effect on their OVR and potential. So they
wouldn't you be able to scout that out, though?
Heights that you expected them to be when you draft them. The one side that could be a positive is that players with injuries could fall further down the draft. So you could draft an injured player later in the draft who maybe should have been a first-round pick. He goes in the third round, and maybe the injury isn't a long-term deal, and you end up stealing that player.
So there's some upside to that.
Exactly.
Okay, so this feature we're excited to present. This has a lot of a backstory because it wasn't something that Clayton and I just dove into with our own design ideas. We also met with front office personnel. We met with scouting directors. And the purpose of that was to try to get the game to be as realistic as possible, but also provide that risk-reward in our game.
Yeah, and we talked about the, the distribution of the draft classes, the ages, and what have you. But essentially what's happening now is after your initial draft class, subsequent years, essentially, 90+% of the players that come in are going to be like 18, 19-year-old high school seniors, stuff like that. Like realism. We want a realism. And so basically undrafted players, go back into the draft, but then you're introduced to this new crop of 18, 19-year-old high school players.
Okay.
So no more draft classes with nothing but 22-year-old kids.
Okay.
No more about it.
Music to every franchise player's ears.
Yeah, no, that's great.
So Tim, bring us
That is
home.
actually
What are the
great.
big things to remember when it comes to the changes to realistic draft classes and distribution.
So we're excited that we have now initial draft class ranges that range in age from 18 to 23, and it leans to the younger players. We're going to generate now high school seniors, JUCO 1, JUCO 2, 4-year freshmen, 4-year sophomores, 4-year juniors, the 4-year seniors, and any sophomore that's 21 is also draft eligible. Those players as well, even if they're not drafted, will age and they'll move on to each draft class, moving on continuously.
So let's look at the new
You can just
amateur
continuously
draft
scout
and
them.
this new risk-reward scouting system. What's going on here, Tim?
Hey, I'm excited about this, and I think our community is going to be as well, because this is a huge feature. It encompasses so many factors. It includes scouting. It includes drafting. It also includes signing bonuses. Ramon, did you hear that?
Signing bonuses.
And the player generation logic we just covered.
So we have a lot of different things going on here. We're going to start right in playing the game. We're queuing up our dev kit here, and we're going to jump into scouts. So obviously you can't have a scouting system without scouts. So with that being said, we made some adjustments to our scout system. First thing you're going to notice is now instead of 4 scouts, we have 3. And with that being said, we've also improved our scouts. We've improved the scouts with their attributes, and we've also adjusted the salaries of our scouts. Scouts making $2 million a year, Ramon, wasn't realistic. And we had to fix that problem.
So I see you have salaries here that are much more realistic with what you'll see in real life.
Total staff salary,
And
too.
let's touch on the new mechanisms for these attributes.
So there's going to be a big balance.
For Frank Pyle and all the other scouts on the screen here, you can see efficiency. Essentially, that's the rate at which you scout prospects.
That's how fast you scout prospects.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. There's discovery. We'll skip
This looks
over
very
the
familiar.
Discovery. Discovery is just the rate at which you discover undiscovered prospects.
Prospects that aren't, on your list.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, they're not on anybody's
They're not on
list.
anybody's
They're not
list.
on the MLB Central's list, which
Okay.
we'll get to soon. Little
And these
sneak peek
last
there.
2 attributes, what do they mean?
And this is another piece that's going to dive into the fog of war a little bit. So pitchers and position players, basically that's the accuracy at which your scout scouts these players. So just like in real life, not every scout is 100% accurate. In fact, most of the time, they're not accurate. But so for pitchers, if you're scouting pitchers, you might want to include a scout who has a high pitcher attribute, or else you could be misled in the ratings for
Get
that
some
pitcher.
bad info.
Yeah, and
All
same
about
for
money,
the
though, if you don't have
position
the money.
players. So keep that in mind when you set your scouting
Like that
tasks.
old scouting report from Mike Trout.
And just like
a few MLB
player and
shows
trade
back.
logic and
Yep, so here now the scouts are making
So not really.
realistic salaries, and you've actually changed what all of these attributes actually do. So what are we jumping to next?
All right, we're going to back out of here, and we're going to get into the scouting screen. So you can see here, we're just going to talk about it freelance here. So you have 3 sections here. You can assign, you have 3 scouts, so you can do 3 tasks per week. I know that franchise is such a big mode, and there's so much to do in there. We personally weren't loving making people go into the scouting screen and set their assignments every single day. It was just too much. It's cumbersome. So right now you can set your assignments once per week, which kind of adds a bit to the strategy. It adds to the risk-reward element. So be diligent on what assignments you're setting.
Okay.
So with that being said, Clayton's
What are
going to
they?
jump in here to the scout
Yep.
assignment screen, and as we go through this, you're going to see that there's one new thing that we have this year, and that is we have the option to scout a position. We
Yep.
didn't have the option to do that before in the past. This year, if
Which
you
is
want to
nice.
send your scout out, you can send them out to survey a group of players in
An
a certain
entire
position
group.
to get a scouting report, maybe not as detailed as if you scout an individual prospect.
But it's something to give
but
you a
can
little
still
bit of
get
an
some
idea
scouting
on
of that position.
prospects you want
So
to
scout
target.
position's new this year. You choose the position, you choose the region. You can essentially scout all those players in that position. Scout prospect, is just scouting an individual prospect at a time, and like previously, discover new prospects. You're just trying to find those players that aren't on any ranking list at this point. So let's set something up here. Let's go to scout prospects. Well,
As Clayton is doing this, I want everyone to understand that our ratings are very important here for these scouts. You want to be smart on how you handle your scouts, setting them up to use their maximum attributes. So if you see a scout that has a high discovery attribute, maybe that's the scout you send on a discovery assignment, and vice versa for other things.
That's a great idea. My Texas Rangers want to discover some new prospects. You see Lou Flores here has 94 discoveries, so it makes sense to send him out on a discovery assignment. So we're going to click in here. My Rangers, what are we looking for, you think? Tim, what do my Rangers need?
Rangers always need pitching.
I
Always
don't
need
know.
pitching.
We got starting pitching now, so let's look for maybe a pitcher, but we're primarily want to choose like a reliever if we can. But we'll do pitchers, and we'll go to the international region, and we'll set up that task for Lou Flores here. So you can see here he has been set in the first slot, top priority. Up top, you can see above where it says discover new prospects.
Oh, they kind of just
you can
got into the
see
meat and
up to
potatoes.
4 players discovered per week. He has a pretty high discovery rating, so that's a decent amount of players that he could possibly discover this week. So moving on from there, let's go to priority number 2. We're going to jump back in, look at our scouts, and I see Gene Papas has a 97 efficiency, Tim.
That's awesome. So let's scout a prospect here, Clayton.
He also has 88 for position players and 81 for pitchers, so it looks like his scouting report should be pretty accurate.
Outfield.
And with that note, no matter how good your scout is, just like in real baseball.
Here's the problem. Look at this, and look at this. Same exact person.
Our scouts can have some errors in their scouting reports. They may not.
That's the problem they've always had.
One of the things that we learned when discussing this scouting function and feature with our scouting directors, every team, every organization has a different outlook on prospects, and you'll see that we're using 30-team control, and maybe we can jump in and show you some of that later on, how different teams evaluate players. But one of the examples that we have was Derek Jeter, Colorado Rockies, had a totally different scouting report than some other teams, and that was some of the information that we gleaned this summer.
It doesn't really bother you too much until you get 3 seasons in and everybody looks the same.
List, top left, you can see Rangers draft picks. Just gives you an eye to where their picks are. The Rangers lost their 2nd-round pick. A notable pitcher or two said they seem to have lost their 2nd-round draft pick. Also, notice that the Rangers are number 4, so we'll touch on this again, but we also have draft lottery logic in there.
And this, just take a minute here. This is an entirely new screen.
This is entirely
Everything is new.
Yeah. Everything is new, yeah. So Rangers drafted number 4. They should have drafted number 7, but they moved up in the draft lottery. We have that logic in under the hood, so be aware of that also.
And
I like this overall that they currently add and the potential that they can get.
It happens usually during the winter meetings, that time frame, but it'll be set by the time you enter the draft for sure. You see the bonus allotment in the top left. Now, we'll touch on this a bit more later, but every pick the Rangers have, you see round 1, number 4, round 3, number 82, those all come with a slot value, and every slot value adds up to what the Rangers bonus allotment is, and then on top of that, teams can spend 5% above the bonus allotment, so that comes out to $9.49 million. So that's how we got $9.49 million for the Texas Rangers. Bottom left, you can see positional rankings. You see the Rangers need relief pitchers, closing pitchers.
They need a lot.
Third base, not sure they have a top prospect there, but left fielders and right fielders is also a need for the Rangers.
Yeah, so let's go ahead, Clayton. Let's pick a player.
Yeah, that's like it's fine for the first season, but like once you get like 5 seasons in and literally you're scrolling through and everybody looks the same, and you're like, oh, this
you have to be very
sucks ass.
on how you're scouting. If you go and scout players outside your draft ranking or draft position, it may be wasted scouting. So Clayton has to be very smart, looking at his MLB draft rank, looking at where he's looking to gain a prospect. He has to be kind of conservative on his scouting.
Yeah, we are. And here, Tim, maybe chat about those colorful ranges you see up there.
Oh,
yeah. So like we just mentioned, this is brand new. This is our brand new amateur prospect player card. If you look at this, there's a lot of information on this screen, and what you're going to see on this screen is on the upper part of the screen you see potential and overall, and you see ranges there. And what those ranges are, they symbolize what the fog of war, what that player's potential or overall possibly can be. And there's a range there. It could be higher, it can be lower. There's also fog of war in that, in fact of you may see that there's players that could be diamonds in the rough. Their potential and overall can actually be higher than what's displayed here, or they can be a bust, and their potential and overall could be lower than the ranges. Your scouting will try to narrow those ranges down as we go through.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Scouting, and you may see those ranges tighten up. Obviously, high school kids have a larger spread here because they're unknown. They're unknown commodities. As you get up into the draft classes and you see a college senior, their ranges are much narrower.
Oh, so what you're trying to do here is you're trying to tighten up those ranges.
Exactly, yeah. So high school, that draft class, high school players will have the widest range initially for their overall potential and all their attributes.
Because they haven't been playing that long.
Exactly, and they're a higher risk. There's not as much known about them, right? So you move through the classes, you get to JC, junior college, 1 and 2. You get to 4-year sophomore, you get to 4-year junior like we have here, and then you get to 4-year senior. those ranges will shrink, their initial starting ranges.
What percentage of the player base would play out 5 years on franchise is a high? For people who actually play the franchise, I'm sure it is pretty high, yeah.
Correspond to the draft classes as well. So obviously for your seniors, those ranges will tighten the most. High school seniors the least, but they'll never be 100% like a single-digit number because we still want some fog of war there. We still want some unknown. In addition to the potential that these scouting reports could be inaccurate and what you're looking at.
Like there's probably a lot of people who play 30 games in a year and never play franchise again, but
unknown,
like you can't make a
point,
mode for those people.
We don't know where else Mauricio Vizcaino can play. In the bottom left, we start getting into the players' interest in signing. So you may be familiar with MTO offseason free agency, but the players' interest in signing kind of dictates the bonus demand, which we'll get into shortly.
This is also new functionality, right?
It's all new functionality. It's all part of the new signing system. So we don't know his interest in signing yet. We don't know his bonus demand yet. Again, in the bottom left. Signing motivation is something new. Essentially, it's whether the player is more, he has a priority for being drafted earlier in the draft, or he has a priority for the bigger signing.
Well, they got a long ways to go. I would say, yeah, moving a little bit towards OTP,
Doctor
I guess.
Exam is kind of what we're referring to there is the physical. Now, this is another piece of fog of war that's being introduced because players can opt out of the physical. So if they opt out and you draft them,
well, Carlos Correa?
You don't know at that point whether they're healthy or injured. So you may draft them if they're opted out.
They're opting out. I'm drafting them in the 9th round.
They're injured.
So Dr. Exam, that's going to tell us at some point whether they opted out or not. Okay.
Exactly, yeah. And then injury risk was there previously. It's just the rate at the chance that they could get injured moving forward.
So what's the most important thing here in this new screen? Is it their draft ranking?
All right, so what you're going to see is in the upper right-hand corner, the draft ranking. They are aligned right now with MLB and your own
That's true. That is
ranking.
true, Scoot.
We rank
that
the
is
top
the
100 prospects,
That was the
and
problem.
we are aligned with that as your team on the first week. So they'll be a perfect match. What happens as you scout,
I don't mind
your
no
board will
OTP feel
change,
at all.
Dynamically based on the scouting.
I've always said
So
I think the best
this
baseball
prospect right here
game
may be ranked number 3
that could be
by
created is
MLB.
OTP and MLB
After
the show.
5 weeks,
Fucking and having
He
a
might be
kid,
33.
and
He
that
might be
kid
number
is
1.
the game
That's
we
going
get.
to be what your scouting department is going to be responsible for.
Exactly. We'll demonstrate that stuff in a minute. So let's back
'Cause,
out here.
like, I love
The amateur player
OTP.
card, the
I love it.
all-amateur player card.
But at the same
And let's
time,
add Mauricio Vizcaino
OTP is
to our
spreadsheets.
scouting board.
Like it's
All right.
like there are
All right,
times
so
where
you
it's like I just
see,
want to play
the
baseball.
top here for
you know?
Vizcaino, he's going to earn 3% interest per week, and he's going to 100% scouting per week, which means he's going to be completely.
Yeah, there's a game called
scouted in 1 week, and
OOTP,
that's
Out of the
'cause
Park Baseball.
Our scout Gene Papas has.
That's
very
if you're
high
a
efficiency
huge fucking
and
franchise nerd.
it's a smaller range for a 4-year junior. So
All right.
if he was a high school player,
By far the
he
best
wouldn't be fully
franchise
scouted in a
experience you
week,
can have
but
in
because he's a
baseball.
4-year junior, we're able
Yeah,
to
it's
do
just
that.
an
All right,
it's
what
just a
about the third
baseball
priority?
manager.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Third priority.
I mean,
let's
you'll
jump
see it.
back
We'll be
in
playing
now.
it.
This is our
It comes out on the
weakest
24th.
scout.
So
we're gonna. I guess we have
Like,
no
you'll
choice,
see it
but
on
we'll
the channel.
demonstrate the scout position here. So we'll go into scout position.
it's a phenomenal
And
franchise experience.
Rangers, maybe outfielders. Maybe let's look for a closer here.
Do you want to go back and play the
Athletics?
Athletics? I don't know, or any team. Do you want to go back and play any team? 1965 with realistic draft classes.
Rate for interest
You can
and
have that in
your accrual
OTP.
rate for scouting is much less because you're dealing with more people, which makes sense. The other thing of note here is that, and it's very important for individual
On
scout
stream?
prospect, for
No.
individual scouting assignments, the priority that you put them in on the big board is very important. So if I click on Mauricio Vizcaino here and I move him to the top priority, you'll see that his interest has gone up to 3% per week. So you gain additional interest per week if you prioritize individual scouting assignments. So keep that in mind.
No, I haven't done videos for it
The
either.
same doesn't occur for discovery.
Mainly
and
because
scouting positions here.
All right.
the mode hasn't
So
changed
let's
in a
skip ahead
decade.
week and jump right back into it.
All right, here we go. We're going to advance. So we're going to finalize the weekly scouting plan. Of course, you can skip it and set it to auto, but we're going to finalize it and advance here. So we'll go back to the calendar. We'll see how the Rangers do for a week. We're going to jump ahead here, sim through the date. Every Sunday, see, today is a day to set scouting assignments. That'll pop up. It's on Sunday, so we'll hit OK. We'll back out, and we'll jump back into the scouting screen.
Rangers looking like Rangers.
So here we see Mauricio's now 100% scouted. He's his interest in signing with the Rangers is revealed. Plus, he's earned 3% interest that week. We see he's 57% interested in signing with the Rangers. 100% scouted. His potential is 80 to 90. Overall, 61 to 71. Those are the ranges, and that is tight. That's as tight as they're going to get. So make your decisions based on that. We see that he has secondary positions of center field and right field now.
Fuck was that commentary coming through? What the hell was that?
The physicals. What's the date again for those?
June. It's going to take place in June, so we'll see physicals take place in June.
And
yeah, look at that bonus demand.
It's important because if a player opts into the physical and takes the physical, they are guaranteed 75%.
Okay, you heard that too. It's not in my mind, so that's good.
So that is a major league rule. If they opt in and they're drafted, they're guaranteed 75% of their bonus allotment.
So that's also part of the logic. And why that date in particular, Tim?
Well, that's a scouting combine. So unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to get that into the game this year, but we're simulating that in our simulation here in the game. That in June, our undrafted prospects will either submit or deny or refuse to take a physical.
And let's take a look at his player card again now that he's 100% scouted.
So jumping back in here, we also see.
Whoa, look at that! Look at the draft rank changing.
Top right, we see the draft ranks differing. We'll jump into that in a minute. But also in the bottom left, you see he has a balanced signing motivation. So
look at his fielding.
Towards
oh my God, that's bad.
Bonus demand. He's kind of somewhere in the middle, and he also has average injury risk. So we'll back out of here, and we'll
contacted her though. Pierre contacted her
off the board because he's 100% scouted.
No point in keeping him scouted.
We may add him later if we want to accrue more interest, but we're gonna cancel that.
And you can see that he's looking for a $7.6 million signing bonus. So that's
which
a key
is
point
insane.
That you have to keep in the back of your mind as we get closer to the draft.
Dude,
day.
he couldn't catch a stadium if the stadium fell on top of him.
$7.6 million is his bonus demand in the bottom left there. So we're back into the prospect lists.
Jesus Christ!
I'll let Tim walk through these.
Okay, so we're here, and one of the cool things that we have this year, just like we did in the
I ain't gonna lie, this is all pretty nice. I'm gonna fucking say it. This is all pretty cool.
March to October off season is we have lists, and they help us sort our players, help us sort our prospects, so it's easier for us to break down what we're doing here. So we have our all. Our all is all the prospects that we've either discovered, MLB ranked, every prospect that's known currently. And what I said known is that the ones that we currently know.
And also scrolling through here, some different looking people.
Oh, as you
we know as a team.
As we know as a team, you're going to find more. There's a lot more prospects out there.
Now, there's some that look
prospects. You might find diamonds.
They're the exact same person, but it does seem to be a little bit more diversity.
That'll expand.
So, what are the only prospects that show up on our board without us going to discover anyone?
Essentially, they're all the prospects that are known by our quote-unquote MLB Central system. So you'll see guys on here that are not ranked, right? So the MLB Central ranks the top 200, but as we rip.
What I need to know is, can I edit all of these guys after I draft them? That's the big question.
Through here, you'll see NR means that guys are unranked, and at some point, we'll get back into the ranked players.
All right, so as Clayton moved to the recently scouted page here, you can see that the prospects that are here are the prospects that were recently scouted, that were either discovered or scouted as a position.
Oh my God, that is super tight. 86 to 99.
So every player that was a positional scouted player or that was discovered player that we didn't get a chance to see firsthand will now show up on this recently scouted list.
You'll see the ones on the where it says draft rank and it has the Major League logo. It says NR. Those are players you discovered because they previously weren't discovered, so they had no rank. And now you can see that Texas, their draft rank is
rank them ourselves.
This guy was just discovered, Texas draft rank of 164. This guy not bad, a 74, kind of out of nowhere. So
the next thing that I'm interested in is how the draft logic goes. Like, are the other teams, are they going to be drafting right like this reliever? You don't draft relievers in like the first, hardly ever. You don't draft any relievers in like the first 10 rounds. So it's like, are they going to just be going out and picking up all of these relievers, or actually drafting to like team need and more starters or something like that? Or maybe you're going to draft a starter and find out he's not really a good starter, so he's going to become a reliever, or vice versa.
In a sense, that's another way to get those diamonds in the rough.
That's a diamond in the rough right there.
Wow.
Case in
possibility. We still got a lot of way to go.
10% scouted. So let's not assume anything.
Okay, so now you can see that we have a recommended draft prospects. And what this is all prospects that may fit our positional needs as a team.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Probably not going to be drafting that guy in the first round.
So if you look in the left-hand panel, you'll see that positional needs that we currently have are relief pitchers, closing pitchers, and left fielders.
And we set that.
We set that one. The CPU will set the bottom 3 ranked positions automatically. And
But you
that'll be
can
their
override
recommended.
that.
And you can override them if you are the user control team.
So you see here we have relief pitchers, closing pitchers, and left fielders, and that's all you're going to see in the recommended because those are the positions we wanted to focus on.
They haven't
Then
said
we
that
can
it's
sort here
only
by our
next
top
gen, so
100
I'm not sure.
prospects by Major League rank. This doesn't change. This is set right from the start of the franchise. So when you walk into this, your draft rank is set by MLB. It's basically
Not gonna lie, starting them off, maybe some of these people maybe starting off at a very high level, like coming straight out of college and being really good.
their top 100 rankings.
The players look almost identical. That's a problem.
And if we go on to the next list, this is where you're going to start seeing things diverge a little bit. This is our individual team rankings. And as Clayton is sorting through this list here, you're going to see that our rankings are starting to diverge a little bit from MLB rankings. And we're only a week into our scouting.
So you see our boy Mauricio here, 100% scouted, MLB draft rank of 3rd, and Texas now has him at 7th on their list. We'll look a little bit further down the list. The more you scout, the more you can see that these things diverge, and you'll find the busts and the diamonds in the rough start shining through.
So let's sim ahead, 8-10 weeks into the future to see how things diverge and who else gets discovered?
Yeah, we can do that. And one of the things that we have here, if by whatever reason you want to make your scouting assignments as auto, we have the ability to change that at any point from auto or back to manual. So we'll have Clayton jump back in here. We're going to sim out of this.
I'm going to add number 1 boy here, Andres Moya.
So what is the best advice you have for when players are scouting in franchise mode this year?
I think it depends on your team needs. If you have only one need, maybe you can get away with scouting the individual.
Not scouting any positional
solely.
Players.
I think one thing you should focus on is your draft position. Like if you have the 20th pick, probably shouldn't be scouting guys 1, 2, 3, 4 in the draft because they'll be gone by the time they get to your pick.
Exactly, makes sense.
Be sure when you assign individual scouting assignments, like I'm doing here, move him to the top priority, get that extra interest per week. If you have a wide range of positions that you have needs in, it's not a bad idea to start out with the scouting position. You can sort of weed out some of the diamonds and roughs and busts there as well. And then discovery as well early on to find those guys that may be hidden, those hidden gems.
Nice. One more point there with that, Ramon, is that I don't think we touched on this yet. Positional needs, if you scout a player that is one of your positional needs, you also accrue an extra 1% of interest each week by doing that. So right now we don't have a relief pitcher. Let's change that up a little bit.
I have a second baseman on the board, so we'll swap out left fielder for second base, and he was 3%. He should be now 4% interest per week. So that's another little piece there. If you can match up your positional needs,
I don't think it ever will be.
Assignments, you will get some extra interest accrual, which is another little secret.
And as we get farther into the scouting and drafting, you're going to notice that the higher your player's interest is, their bonus demands will go down, and that's going to be important as we get into the actual draft, and we'll talk about that as we hit that.
Nice. So let's sim ahead a few weeks and see where we land.
Okay, we're gonna advance out of here. We're gonna skip
higher the interest, the less the demand is.
Advance a few weeks here.
So the more interest you take in them, the less their demand is.
Set it to auto. Okay, so we went ahead just a couple of weeks. We'll jump back in and take a quick look here. So we're looking at a third baseman, Jeremy Dozier. We see he's 41% interest, 38% scouting progress. MLB rank had him at 111. Texas has him at 125. But let's change the prospect just to look at some of these other rankings here.
Clay, you want to do me a favor here so we can show our fans some of the changes here that we've made with the CPU logic? We'll have Clayton take a look at maybe our number 2 MLB ranked prospect. Let's go to him. And what we rank him as in our internal rank is number 1. Since we're using 30-team control, we can also take a look at other teams and see how they're scouting, because our scouting system is dynamic. And what you're going to see is that you're going to see all 30 teams are going to have individual scouting reports on each player. They can be widely different. They can be the same, just like real baseball. Everything can change here.
Let's take a look in here and see how the Braves have them. So we had them number 1. The Braves currently have them number 3.
Yeah, so you see a little bit of a change here. If we go through and you go to a couple other teams, you're going to see that that'll change even more. And again, it's based on your scouting. So who are you scouting? What prospects are being scouted? That's going to change your draft.
Yes, it has, Zach.
So as Clayton's going through this, that was one of the logic changes that we made. We completely revamped CPU logic for scouting. Our CPU logic is completely different. Everything has changed. There's a lot more that's going on under the hood now than has ever been before. As you can see, the big board here is being populated dynamically by the CPU. They're positioning players in places where they feel that they're going to get the most bang for the buck. That's one of Clayton's favorite terminologies and terms.
Bang for the buck.
Bang for the buck. So you're going to see that CPU teams are going to do that. And again, this is a user playing against the CPU.
Oh, this has all been pretty good, Moose.
Yeah, we can also see here, went to the Pirates, and the Pirates have him at number 4. We had him number 1. A couple other teams had him 2. He was 3, but you'll start seeing the more further we get in here, some bigger divergences. You see, so Pittsburgh sees Gary Weinstein as number. Oh wait. Oh, sorry. So you can see here, Pittsburgh sees Leandro Gil.
Yeah, and the way that they do the scouting is actually pretty neat. Like, you can scout all these guys, and they might not get drafted. And if they don't get drafted, then they get put back into the pool, and you can continually scout them and see how their potential rises over the course of them playing, which is pretty neat.
Leandro Gil.
And something that you've been able to do in OOTP forever. So anything that moves it more to OOTP, I'm actually all right with.
If you're a Yankee fan.
Leandro Gil. MLB rank was 11. Pittsburgh has him he's dropped all the way down to 62 based on some primary scouting by the Pirates.
Kind of a bummer that it's only 6 rounds, but.
So we'll back out of here. We'll advance further.
All right, so we've simmed a few weeks ahead, and we've got a lot of fully scouted prospects.
So we're looking at week 9 of 14. You have 14 weeks, essentially 14 chances to set up your scouting big board. So make the right decisions. Choose your strategy wisely. So here we got Leandro Santiago, small divergence, Carlos Gonzalez. MLB had him 5th. We have him 9th. You can see that Sid Brignoni, he's gone up about 20 slots. But yeah, this is the CPU logic from the Rangers because we're on auto. You can see they're targeting, MLB had Carlos ranked at 5th. We have the 4th pick, so they're targeting picks in our draft range. And I think our 3rd round pick, if I'm not mistaken, is roughly around 109 to 117 range. But
and you can see there we have JUCO players.
Yeah, it does look like they're going to be just targeting relievers and shit.
Populating here in our draft classes.
So if we look at the top 100
I guess with only 6 rounds,
rank,
you kind of have to.
Initially Moya was 1. He's gone to 4.
Although I'll never target relievers just because just sign them.
He was originally 7th, and he's all the way up to number
1.
I
hardly ever draft relievers.
So that's probably who I'll be targeting at this point. That's probably who I'll be targeting on draft day. So the ranking,
unless a starter becomes a reliever kind of thing.
I mean, it's all part of the player metric, the new and improved player metric, actually. So of course its potential plays a role. The initial starting out overall, and obviously age as well, because the younger you are, the more years you have to progress to that, like those peak years. So that's kind of what we're looking at for these player rankings.
So let's get to the draft and see what's changed with the draft, because I hear there's some big changes, Tim.
Oh, we're excited.
Stream's almost over, by the way.
I'm going to have Clayton sim
probably
right
all
up
it's going to
until
be.
Draft day. We're going to get there, sim through.
And we're here. We're at the MLB draft, which now takes place during MLB All-Star break.
Yeah, so this is going to be exciting. So I'm really happy and proud to show this off. I know our entire team is. So I'm going to have Clayton jump right in here. We're going to go to the draft.
This is all I'm doing today.
Of course.
Unfortunately, I guess here. I'm a Yankee fan.
Go to draft.
All right, we're going to go into the draft. And the first thing you'll notice is the draft queue. So we're excited about this. Just like if you play fantasy sports and you have fantasy drafts, you know, you want to set up your draft queue ahead of entering the draft. Be a bit more organized, and be more specific about the targets that you want to pick in the draft.
So as we go through here, before you start, you can add in your prospects, any prospects that you want. So you can set your own draft board the way you'd want it to be. I'll have Clayton just add a few players on there that he's targeting as a Ranger fan, who he wants
again
to pick his picks.
On draft day, again, you have the list of all. You have the team rank, and you have basically any player you've scouted or discovered, right? So looking at my Texas Rangers rankings here, of course I have to add my boy Omar Lopez. I need a right fielder. He can play left field and center field. Perfect. 49% interest.
$5 million bonus, man.
He is JC1, JUCO 1. So we're going to add him to the draft queue. Who else looks good here? Moya. I mean, I could add these guys, but again, 8% scouted, 8% scouting. There's a lot of risk involved there. So I might try and save those guys for later in the draft, or if they're still there, or let other teams take them because they're kind of unknowns. Moya, Texas, another second baseman here. Texas has him ranked 4, so I'm going to add him to the draft queue as well.
Before we go on, if you look down below, you'll see the doctor exams. Here's where you can see opted out or injured. So if we go back, right there, Moya is an injured doctor exam. So this could impact his stock and his quality as a player after we move forward.
So I think you would, at this point, you'll probably have, depending on how wide range, if you only targeted individual prospects, you're probably going to look at between 30 to 45 fully scouted players.
Depends on the class too.
Exactly. So obviously high school players take longer to scout. 4-year seniors take less time, so keep that in mind as well. Maybe you want to focus on 4-year seniors because you can get more accurate scouting reports on more players by targeting older players. But again, maybe you're missing out on those really great prospects who are high school players. So we'll see here. Yeah, pointing out that my boy Moya is injured.
I paused it a little bit and see if I can
pause.
So Clayton's going to populate his draft queue. And as he's finished populating his draft queue, he can also go through here and modify it. So he can move players up, he can move players down on his queue.
So I'm going to look at Moya injured, moving him below Weinstein, who is opted out. But maybe I should move Cooper. What do I have him at?
Decisions, buddy.
Starting pitcher.
Also injured.
Sure thing. I'm going to move Cooper up. Oh, and
he was also injured, though.
Mauricio, who I've been scouting for a while. So let's move him up. I can't go number 1. No, come on. Mauricio Vizcaino. All right, so I have my draft queue set. I would probably add some more players based on my third round pick or 4th round pick I have, because I know I have no 2nd round pick. But for time's sake, I'm just going to focus on the 1st round pick.
And if Clayton decides to make changes after he gets into the draft screen, we could also make some more changes.
All new draft screen. This is all new functionality and UI, correct?
All part of the draft day experience.
So here we are in the all new draft screen in MLB The Show 23. What's happening here?
One thing I will point out, there's a lot happening, but just a reminder, the top 6 picks have been set by the draft lottery that's happening under the hood. So Texas should have been 7th, but they moved up in the draft lottery. Thank you, draft lottery. And now number 4. So, Tim, what else are you seeing on here, buddy?
So there's a ton here. So, look, so we have round 1
up
in
there
the
a ton
upper
here?
left-hand corner. We show on the clock. So our Pirates are pick number 1
really.
on the clock. Their logo's up there. You'll see a timer. All right, so on that timer, we have 10 seconds. CPU draft picks, they're allotted 10 seconds per pick. Users are allotted 4 minutes per pick.
Huh, nice.
In the upper right corner, you'll see that the Nationals are up next with pick number 2, and we also display their logo.
Yeah, so much to look at.
Go here. We have 30 teams on the draft board for round 1. We're looking through our queue. When we're ready to start our draft,
start it.
We start the functionality by pressing the
Come on.
All right, let's do it.
Hit the start button.
Dropping lower.
Well, here we go. We're still adjusting.
Right.
So we're going to start the draft, and there may be a little surprise.
A little surprise?
What's going on
what
here?
is this?
Oh, yeah, look at this. Don't worry, guys. We took the Diamond Dynasty walkout and brought it in for you.
Top 3 picks of the
What a
draft.
surprise.
So the Pirates
They took Carlos Gonzalez.
Now you can see the difference between what we had scouted and what they did. So they must have.
So
ranked
they may have
number
had him
one on
as the
their
number one
board,
ranked.
And what we had ranked them was number 9.
Which that's a big swing.
That's
Eight
past
eight
Carlos,
positions.
Number 2 pick again, a reveal.
If the user has a pick in the top 3, that'll pause and you'll get to select your player, and then this will come up
The
again.
Nationals.
Oh,
for
so this
sure
is
a
only for the
bust,
top
for
3.
sure a
Wow.
No
bust.
doubt, no doubt.
Oh, 11th. He went 11th ranked player, William Gale, starting pitcher. That's okay. I mean,
No relievers yet.
Yeah, so this is the actual reveal in the gameplay trailer. Gotcha. All right, let's go. Who's next? We got
Nationals
one more.
got William Gale, the 3rd pick, right before my Rangers pick. Who do we got? Detroit goes with
What if it was
Waiting,
nobody?
waiting.
Omar Lopez.
They
Uh,
took
Took your girl one pick before.
Give fucked.
One pick
So
before.
now I'm left. Like, do I want an injured player? Do I want an opted out player? There's a lot of risk there, but
Decisions.
it could pay off.
So you'll
All
see
right.
we have a star here. So every time a user pick comes up,
And we're on the clock.
there is a star. It's number 4.
4 minutes. I'm on the clock here, as you can see.
No, there's no pause here. So what we're gonna do, Clayton, you want to demonstrate?
No
here some of the
pause.
Things that we can do while the timer's going on.
So you can move over to the left. You know, anybody who's been drafted, you can see their card. You can dive in here.
Timer's still going.
You can also go to the player card for these players, and the timer is still going.
Pressure,
After they're
pressure.
drafted, do their real ratings show up? Or is it still the scouted ratings?
It's still the scouting, and we will get to that.
Ooh.
later.
Oh.
Little surprise
Okay.
for you, Ramon.
What the fuck?
So who you drafting, Clayton?
Well,
It's still got
all right, who's
90
left? We
minutes.
got
This is going to be 2.5
Mauricio
hours.
Vizcaino, my
healthy.
boy.
Let's go for it.
I mean, I need a left fielder. Although
So you
I
making
want,
this- you
I want
making
my
this
boy
difficult.
Bubba Thompson to steal 100 bases this year. But let's see.
You know, this
We
is
Now,
got-
if you look
only
at
one person.
Vizcaino, you'll notice that his bonus demand, if you go back here, his bonus demand is 7.6 million. Bonus demands
almost-
don't always align directly with the slot, so sometimes you have to be smart on how you draft, because if you take all your picks over slot, bonus demands higher than what the slot is, you're not going to have the bonus allotment to sign these players. So there's a little
Oh,
strategy involved
Little strategy.
as well.
Yeah, he has
Clayton,
9
go
million
back
to
the
work.
picture that you had. Was it Gary? Look at Gary's projected overall 81-71. That's a
know.
pretty tight
It's
with
a high starting
potential. That's a
overall.
he could be pitching for you in the majors very very soon.
He's almost like
but he
day
opted out.
one. He's
He-
almost
he
day one.
opted out.
90 Narnia
That's the
minutes.
risk.
Opted
They're going to use
out.
this
That's
entire
the
4
risk.
minutes, aren't
Another
you?
thing we'll mention too. So the
4 minutes
interest
is
level,
plenty enough.
The initial interest level, there's logic that goes into that. I believe their draft classes involved in that. What
Other
else is
draft
involved in that?
classes, if they're blocked by other players on the major league roster or in the minor league roster. So we look ahead 4 to 5 years to see the player obviously doesn't want to play for a team where they're blocked.
Mhm.
So they're
Exactly.
looking for places where they can
Where
jump
they
right
can
in.
go.
And
Organizational
then-
strategy
21-year-old
takes
left
effect.
fielder.
I think it's also basically just where MLB Central ranks them, plays into their interest level.
All right, Clayton, what
as
you gonna
well.
do? You got a minute? You gonna take this 21-year-old left fielder? Or you gonna roll the dice?
Moya injured. I mean, I like Moya. 83,
93
Lots of
I mean,
pressure.
potential.
Why he seems like a sure thing, except for the opted out. Cooper, what do we? Oh my, 90 to 95 potential.
But look at
If
that
it's
Jesus.
accurate,
If it's
remember
accurate, it might
my
not be accurate.
scouts. Whoops,
He's
he's a
22.
pitcher. Oh, which
Jesus.
scout scouted him? It was Otto. I don't know.
I
All
think-
right.
Oh,
I
it does
think
depend on who scouted
I'm
him.
going- You know who I'm going
Rangers
for.
need
You're
pitching.
not going to take the
Rangers
picture.
always need
You're
pitching.
not going to
Are
take
you
the picture
serious?
with
The
the
Rangers
81
are
overall.
Pick someone,
Rangers are
anyone.
stacked.
No, they're gonna take
I'm
gonna
going-
take
You're
the
loyal-
full
I'm
4
loyal
minutes.
To Mauricio
Do
here.
it.
Oh, I
They
got a
brought the
trophy,
claps
too.
back?
Got
Got his
Future of
trophy.
the franchise. So we don't get a reveal, but we get a little pop up here, just a little payoff right there.
They
So
clapped.
this, well, you see here.
That's Mauricio.
How dare you?
So Clayton, we
Mauricio
just drafted. I can't say his name.
Mauricio.
We just drafted Mauricio. What's happening next?
All right, so this is
Mauricio.
actually the only time the draft
Vizcaino.
pauses. So you can sit here and you can.
I know I said that
admire your
completely
draft
wrong,
pick for
but-
as long as you want, he won 7.4 million. We know that his 80 to 90 potential. Well, we hope he's 80 to 90 potential. We know his overall 61 to 71.
Not really.
But we're gonna advance out of here.
All right,
That's
Clayton,
pretty good.
let's show them some of the new functionality we had
Here we are.
into the draft screen here. So if Clayton
Scroll through 'em.
presses the option button,
How many are relievers?
it's going to bring up draft options here. He can sim to the Rangers' next pick, or he can sim the rest of the draft.
So we'll sim ahead to my next pick.
Yeah, I want to see. I want to see what happened to that pitcher and what
Alright.
his ratings really look like, and see if Clayton made the right choice.
So you can see our draft queue's empty.
So we won't know that yet, Ramon, but we will check it out later. Just remember his name? I know it was
Weinstein?
Weinstein. Who was the pitcher? Moya was the pitcher.
Moya.
Right?
They're gone now. They're gone. They're off the queue.
Well, actually, see, here's the other thing. We can go and see where they were picked while we're on the clock here. So we'll go back to first round. Moya
was 8.
Weinstein 13. Wait,
So
it was
Cubs,
Kansas City
Cubs and Kansas.
I don't know which
Right,
ones were
remember that,
relievers.
Remember that, Kansas City and the Cubs.
So let's
Right?
go back
I
to
wish the
third
position was
round
on the
with our
board
pick.
too.
Obviously, everybody in my queue is gone, so I'm going to jump back in. My team ranks, I still have a 49th ranked right fielder.
The
Let's see
fuck
if
is this
he's
guy?
scouted. 99 for relief pitcher. I don't know. Do I go for a sure thing reliever, or do I go
No.
for someone I don't know
As
much
Don't know
about?
much about.
As Clayton's looking at his draft list here, one of the things I wanted to point out was that you'll see closing pitchers and relief pitchers will not be drafted by the CPU in the first round. And that's because more often than not, relief pitchers and closing pitchers are not drafted in the first round. So that is on purpose. Even if their draft rank is higher, we leave them there. They'll be around second, third round picks.
Another added piece of realism there.
Let's go!
I'm gonna go. For
They actually thought of that!
I see that 85, 90 potential.
Yeah, let me in!
Maybe he's only 20% scouted. But
All right,
I'm
do it.
gonna draft. So I can draft him directly from.
Holy shit!
here. So we got Andres.
They
Nia.
actually thought of that.
Demand.
All right, so the other
Get
thing we're
out
gonna
of my
do
head
is
is right,
bypass the
dude.
draft Here, we're gonna sim the rest of the draft. So it's complete again. You can exit the draft, or you can go back in. You can see.
Here, I'll.
As Clayton's looking at his draft list here, one of the things I wanted
Listen.
to point out was that you'll see closing pitchers and relief pitchers will not be drafted by the CPU in the first round. And that's because more often than not, relief pitchers and closing pitchers are not drafted in the first round. So that is on purpose. Even if their draft rank is higher, we leave them there. They'll be around second, third round picks.
Another added piece of realism there.
Crazy.
I'm gonna. All right, so the other thing, we're gonna just bypass the whole draft here. We're gonna sim
Right?
the rest.
They actually listened to me? No?
So it's complete.
They
Again,
thought about
you
that.
can
That's
exit the
awesome.
Draft, or you can go back in. You can see all the picks that other teams have made. But we will exit. So now that we've exited the draft, just one last note on that. So we have new intelligent CPU/auto draft logic. It's based on basically what Tim mentioned. You know, relief pitchers are very rarely drafted in the first round, so we've essentially excluded.
Very
them from
rarely
CPU
drafted like in the
auto
first
logic.
3 rounds, but
Draft slot plays a role. The bonus demands play a role. Scouting position, blocked positions. We actually look ahead to see if there's a top prospect or someone at that position who 4 years from now would prevent you from being a starter at that position. So that's part of it. Organizational strategies, rebuild, playoffs, and essentially the prospect's interest in signing you also plays in as well.
So let's jump to the last phase, which is signing these prospects.
Yeah, Ramon. So this is one of those things that have bothered me for years. We've never had a realistic signing.
it's actually
draft
been all right,
stage.
Ziz.
Nope.
We just offered them a low contract. They've accepted it.
Yep.
Now you have to work just like real life. There's signability risk here.
Okay.
As you can see down below, that signed draft picks is locked, and it's locked purposely. We open it up a few days after our MLB All-Star events.
There's
so that-
also a similar lock on the scouting big board. So basically,
So it's only been one thing that's been like dove into, and that's the draft. But the draft has actually been this has actually been a pretty interesting experience.
every Sunday during the regular season are those the only days you can access the scouting big board.
So I really want to jump into this. So this is a fun part of the game here.
Well, OPEP, they did say that they updated the trade and player logic again for the 35th year in a row, so hopefully we're not going to be seeing any potential 65 overall players going for Mike Trout.
That's the hope.
Let's go right to our signing board. All right, so we just entered into our signing big board. All right, so right now we have Auto Logic in, and what you're seeing is that
And my boy Mauricio.
and his boy Mauricio is in here. He's already locked into that #1 slot. While you're on the signing board, you can also accumulate additional interest. You can accumulate additional scouting. So if you look above each panel, you can see a 3% interest per 3 days. And I guess that's a good point to make, that our signing board takes place every 3 days, not per week, every 3 days. So Clayton's moving his draft picks around a little bit here. He's prioritizing the way he feels makes the most sense.
I'm gonna add Sargent on here because he wasn't ranked by the MLB, so he has a very low bonus demand, so I can maybe get him under slot.
So this is where the gamesmanship comes into the game. What we want to do here is we want to try to have as much bonus allotment available for your prized
But the big
pick.
ones, yeah.
So what you want to do is try to sign those players, those prospects, below bonus demand when and if
Under slot.
possible. And to do that, you try to find the players that have the highest interest already. And we have them locked off right now. We can't even offer a bonus right now until that prospect has hit at least the 50% threshold.
Oh.
So the work's not done.
Never done.
Baseball's different. What I've also noticed is we still don't know their true overall and potential yet.
You got that, Ramon.
So just one thing to mention quick, we were set to auto when we came into the screen. You know, if we were set to manual, it wouldn't have been pre-populated like this. But you see here, Sargent has 46% interest. We really want to build up his interest to get to that 50% so we can offer him a contract. Additionally, he and Cortez are only 20% scouted, so it would be nice to learn more about them.
Can you?
Again, on the signing big board, you can continue to scout these guys.
Oh.
It may affect how much I want to offer them as far as a bonus goes.
So we're going to sign somebody or we're going to sim a week?
Well, we have 21 days.
Yeah, I said this too. Like, OTP is always like the leader in franchise, but there are times where I just want to play baseball. So, like, if they can give me a good franchise experience where I can just play baseball, like, I'm happy with that.
Until our signing deadline, so we have some time, but
I'm going to take a shot at Mauricio off the hop here because if I don't sign him, I'll be heartbroken. So we'll jump in here to the offer contract. All right, back out of this tutorial. All right, so Mauricio, one thing
He
we'll
eats
point
up
out,
all
you
of
see
it.
MLB suggested draft pick slot value. Now he was drafted number 4 overall, and that equates to a $7 million slot value. And like I'd mentioned a while back, those slot values, you add them up, that's the total bonus allotment, right? So that's how we get to 9.49 million. It's 7 million plus the slot values of all the other Rangers picks. So Vizcaino, he wants above slot, which worries me, and he's only 57% interest. And there is an effect in there. If you lowball a player and he declines your offer, there's potential that his interest in signing with you will decline, which might make it that much harder to sign.
there's no guarantees.
That's
Even
gonna
in
have
the
a
signing
snowball
process, no guarantees here like there was in the past.
And you see as I start to really lowball Mauricio here, my his
his
in
interest
signing goes
is
down, so we're
way down.
barely past 50% here. So what do? Do I try and save some money for other prospects? Do I give him exactly slot or slightly above?
I don't like how you can't fine-tune
So
this.
once
First, we're gonna go for
Top five.
So
It is
when
pretty
Clayton came
realistic,
in, you
yeah.
saw that the
I
slider
don't
was
like how
up.
you can't fine-tune this. Like, it showed 7.03.
slot or slightly above. You want to? Oh, okay. What's
So
your
one thing-
first? We're gonna go for
Top five
So
pick.
as Clayton came in, you saw that the slider was already way over to the right. The reason for that is you have the bonus allotment, and you're only allowed to exceed that bonus allotment if you've already signed other prospects and you have an additional bonus allotment left over. So he has very limited bonus allotment right now. He has his slot value plus the 5% that's tacked onto the total allotment. So that's why his max offer right now is 7.48 million. If he left him on the board maybe a couple
I
more
get it.
weeks, built some interest up, we might be able to get him a little cheaper.
We could have saved some money.
I normally would do that, but for the sake of the stream, I will do it now. Let's go for it, Mauricio. 7.48 million. Come on, buddy.
What if he says no?
We signed him.
Oh,
Okay.
Look at my boy. Love that beard. So here's a little payoff for signing him. We'll back out of here. and he's removed from the board. So I'm gonna advance a week. I want to try and get Sargent. I want to get him up to above 50% so that I can essentially give him a low ball offer and get some money.
Wow.
Remove Cortez.
As you see that Clayton's removing prospects off the list, you're seeing that interest is changing for the other remaining prospects. The fewer prospects you have on, it shows that you're focused on that.
Plus
prospect,
6%
so the
now.
interest goes up. It shows that the team is interested in you, and you're interested in the team.
Did the scouting go up too?
Get some money for that beer. Get some money for other prospects.
Scouting didn't go up, but the interest did.
As you see that Clayton's removing
6%
prospects
now.
off the list, you're seeing that interest is changing for the other remaining prospects. The fewer prospects you have on, it shows that you're focused on that prospect, so their interest goes up. It shows that the team is interested in you, and you're interested in the team. So when we had 2 players,
This becomes locked out for the week too, or probably every 3 days because you already put a priority.
on the
You used
board
one.
versus 3 and versus 1, you'll see if there's a difference there.
This seems like a massive list from a logic standpoint under the hood to make all these changes happen.
Yeah,
There was so
it's-
much going on that Tim and I can't
No,
even
let's
keep track of
bring
it.
back
If we're
how much
honest,
hard work the
every
devs
day
have
we're like,
done.
wait a second,
I
how did that
appreciate it.
piece
Thank
work? How did
you.
that piece work? We have to dive back in the notes, and it's been crazy, but we're definitely excited about it.
Phenomenal engineering.
So we're going to advance 3 days. You have 21 days from that point, like it said on the sign-in big board.
No, it's just console.
Today is the day to sign draft picks, so let's do that. Jump back into sign draft picks. You can see here on the info panel, Mauricio Vizcaino. It gives a little shout out to my boy there. He's my top pick, so he'll always show up on that sign draft picks panel, but I've already signed him, so I don't have to worry about him at this point. So we'll jump in. Sargent's at 52% now.
So you can offer contract.
But it also looks like I think his draft rank went down a little bit, so he may not be as good as the
I don't think it did.
70-ish number that I think he was on the previous screen. But he's 52%. We can offer him a contract, but I don't think I can lowball him too much.
You can't.
I can't.
Limited.
Well, it's essentially for his slot value, it's 406,000. But because he's like wasn't ranked, he's kind of a nobody. He doesn't have high bonus demands, right? So we're at 304K. Wow, that's right around his. That is his bonus demand, and that's
Let's do it.
the lowest I can do. Let's see if we'll take it, because that'll save me 100K for us.
I don't know if I like this. It's like deciding what you can offer, but I guess they said if you increase the interest, their bonus demand goes down. So maybe there's like thresholds that you have to hit.
Other prospects.
Denied. Now his interest didn't change, and because we offered him what his bonus demand was, so
Exactly.
he wasn't feeling like he was.
You're not valuing him.
He wants.
That's the way that he feels. That's
Well,
not the way that
so
we feel as
if I had offered
ownership.
him, say, half of his, not that I could do that, but let's say 75% of his bonus demand, there's a potential that his interest level would have dropped here. But because I still, even though it was low for the slot, even though I offered him his exact bonus demand, his interest in signing with me didn't.
Nice. What's
down.
next?
All right, so I'm going to advance out of here. I wasn't able to sign Sargent, but I'm going to switch back to auto. I'm going to skip signing and set to auto. And then the signing deadline is August 1st. So let's sim ahead here. Trade deadline's coming up too, so there's a lot of action I'm at the button through.
And it's still the game will still auto.
Wait,
stop
should we
before you
hang on? Should we look at the trades that are happening? Jake Cronenworth to the Phillies for Andrew Painter and Pedro Martinez. I don't know who these guys are. Is that, yeah? That look like a good one? Doesn't sound like a good one.
Trade
Okay.
deadline's coming up too, so there's a lot.
That's not too bad.
I'm at the button through.
Oh, Taylor Trammell?
And then the signing deadline is
Okay.
August 1st. So let's sim ahead here.
Okay, number 1 starting pitching prospect. That's big. Hang on.
Trade deadline's coming up too, so
Nope.
there's a lot of action.
Oh, there we go. Mariners trade Taylor Trammell to the Cubs for Alzolay, Sergio Alcantara, and Yohendrick Panango. That's not bad either. Okay.
And the game will still auto stop before you pass through those big milestone dates when you can't do anything anymore, correct?
So if you're set to auto, it's not going to force you to stop.
That's actually not bad.
It'll just
If you're on manual, it'll.
Yeah, we need the bag of chip
if you're set
trades.
to auto, we're assuming that you don't want to.
You don't care.
Want
Okay,
to deal
gotcha.
with it. All right, so we've passed the signing deadline. We have a new screen now. It's the view draft pick screen.
So Ramon, you wanted to know?
Jump in
Want to
here.
know?
We're gonna see how good my scouts were and how good other scouts were on other teams. Let's jump in. So Mauricio, well, he got an 83 potential. A little bit low on the 80 to 90 range. So you can see that clearly his potential never falls right in the middle. We see Andres
varies.
Niev, 88 potential.
80 on
What
the
a
higher
pick!
side.
What a pick! Amazing. 77. My scouts look like they've done a decent job. Cortez on the low side of the potential.
But we need to go look at the Cubs.
We need to look at the Cubs.
We need to look at the Cubs.
And we need to look
Ooh,
at.
some of those.
We'll
And the
jump through these.
Tigers.
Let's see. So you see here, Dana
Okay, so closer and reliever taken 3rd and 4th round.
McGrath, his potential is actually below
Oh my God. Fucking Mets lol metting away.
his scouted potential. So the Mets got a bust there, but then they found,
That's all right. They'll just go out and spend $150 trillion.
kind
They
of a
got
dime
a-
in there.
they
The nine
got a
potential with
closer.
their
Oh
third.
my God, they did get a closer.
We'll
Holy
keep
shit.
going. See if there's any notable players here. Oh,
What? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, 94.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Third
whoa.
diving
Late
in
too,
the rough.
late pick.
See, this is what I'm talking about, dude. Look at this. 4 relievers. This is the shit I'm talking about, dude. They took 4 fucking relievers.
Oh, man, the Nationals cleaned up.
Well, their 3rd round pick, they got hosed. They got a 62 potential when the range was 71.
Why are they, dude? Why are they? Don't. This isn't good. This is
84.
bad.
They got a
Bust.
bust
that
there.
starting, but that starting
the top
pitcher.
2
They cleaned up.
picks, not bad. Not bad. Now the Cubs, Weinstein.
Fucking dude, 3 relievers.
Weinstein. He was
he's
a
on
bust.
the low end.
He's on the
still
low
in the
end.
range, but I have a feeling that he actually was healthy, but we'll see. And then we're going to the Royals now.
No. We're not skipping past this, dude.
I have a feeling that he actually
Come on.
was healthy, but we'll see. And then we're going to the Royals.
1, 2, 3, 4 relievers taken.
Now.
Which, so you will end up taking a lot of relievers and starting pitching usually when you do your draft. I think what happens is this is at the mercy of 6 rounds. Like, this is at the mercy of 6 rounds, only being 6 rounds. And if some of these relievers end up becoming potential starting pitchers, that's not terrible. See, like, this is better. 2 starting pitchers, 2 left fielders, and a 3rd baseman. Like, the left fielder can get moved around. I mean, their potential is dog shit, but...
And here you can see their true overalls.
But I think... Oh my God. Holy fucking shit. What the fuck? 4 relievers and 3 starters for the Orioles, dude. The Orioles cleaned up.
Too, if you access the player card.
Some of these are okay, though. Like, look at this. 2 relievers. Well, they took a lot of outfield, but they might need outfield help. Well, yeah. I could see this. Some of these are good though. Some of them are pretty bad. Some of them are good. It's definitely probably dependent on what teams need. Exactly. They have no pitching, but again, that's something that a lot of people just go out and buy. Like you're not going to have, if your entire draft is relieving pitching and maybe one starter, that's a fucking terrible draft because you're always having to for the Major League Baseball, you are always trying to replace what is going to be coming. In the draft, you're looking 5 years out, 6 years out. Like you are looking so far into the future. You're not drafting what you need right now. Some cases you will, very fringe cases you'll do that. The things that you need right now are things that you're going to be going to free agency for. Pulling up from your minor league system that's currently in there now. Like the draft is something you're looking so far out. Like you are looking like, okay, I have a third baseman who's going to be hitting free agency and like I don't have the money for him. So I need to get this person to fill that out later. This is a video game? Yeah, OOTP is a video game too. What? Like that's just baseball logic though.
Royals Moya.
Moya.
Ah, okay. So just remember, the injury doesn't always have a long-term effect. In this case, it obviously didn't because he fit into that. It's got a potential range.
Anything else you want to point out at this screen, at the view draft pick screen?
God damn. Charlie Cooper's a fucking beast.
Screen here, it shows you who was right, who was wrong, how good was your scouting.
This is what I like to see. Astros with a first-round bust. 73 potential. I like to see that as a Rangers fan.
Wasn't a great draft at all. Look at that.
So this is the screen where you can go and look after the signing period for draft picks is over to see who was right, who was wrong, and what actual player ratings and potentials are before you get to the end of the season and everybody's thrown into the roster.
Correct. This is our way to check our scouts to make sure that they're doing their job and to see how accurate they were.
Let's find the best pick in the draft real quick since we're already here.
Let's go through. Let's look for the. Let's look.
There's
for the
an
first
all.
couple picks. See how many more busts.
Ooh, 90. 18 years old.
What does he got?
Ooh, let's see what he's got.
Overall.
What type of repertoire does he have?
66 overall. Wow.
If some of the relievers can eventually become starters, I'm okay with it.
99 potential players that are 70, 71 overall. So there's all kinds of potential here.
Nice.
Lopez was stolen from me.
It was stolen from you, yeah. You were
That's
right.
pretty good too.
You were right.
I could have 93 potential.
Contact hitter.
Overall right fielder. Hello.
So
At
closing
19.
closing out the new draft process. Anything else you want to hit on?
No, I think speaking for Clayton and myself and the entire team, we're really proud of the work that we put in. We're excited for the community to get their hands on this and start playing the game. We think that they're going to really enjoy this feature and all the facets of it.
I'll say that I couldn't wait to actually talk about this because I know we had mentioned amateur draft, and I hope it's very clear at this point that this is scouting, this is player progression logic, this is draft day experience, this is signing logic, and there's
which is how it should be. It is potential, yes, not actual rating. It's all potential.
Goes into there. And the CPU
it's like that's part of their player progression system. Like the higher potential, essentially the better that they can get, the quicker they can get better. Like the quicker you'll see them up there. Like that's not their actual rating. That's just like that's part of their player progression model.
Everything. So there's so much under the hood that we basically,
because that stuff does change as you go, depending on how they do and how long they're in the minors and injuries that may occur and stuff like that. That can all affect that rating.
He didn't sleep for 3 months. I'm burnt out, but I'm excited about it.
But that's not in it. You also had all the CBA changes, the Ohtani rule, full implementation, the new playoff format, the new draft lotteries in. The draft is now taking place.
They can also do better than that potential as well.
Around All-Star break like it's supposed to. You had AAA realignment. So much work has went into franchise mode, and that's
trade
and March to October.
Yeah, remember it's across both modes. There's also the trade logic improvements that we're very excited about. There's the roster tuning and the roster logic.
Remember when everybody thought that franchise was going to eventually just move over to March to October. That still might happen, but they didn't talk about March to October at all.
Movements as well, so
Yeah, we want to see your diamonds in the rough and who is going to draft the best players. We want to see that when the game comes out. Thank you, Clayton and Tim. Also, thank you to Kirby and to Drew and everybody who joined us for this very special feature premiere. We went over March to October, franchise mode,
I also agree.
and commentary. Remember, you will see all of these features in these modes. Thank you. Until next time, we're out.
All right, no online franchise. All you online franchise nerds get fucked. No, I wish that they would. Is there anything extra? There is not. Overall, this wasn't bad. There was some really good stuff, like real early. Like all of the presentation stuff, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's good. I don't really care, but like it's all good. I mean, these are all things that you just kind of expect. Like you expect the presentation to get better, the commentary to get better. You know, you expect baseball to sound like baseball. I don't know why that's been such a huge thing that they've like focused on. Like, oh, baseball sounds like baseball, guys. It's like, okay. That's good. Some of the outside shots are pretty cool. Them kind of like working in like more milestone stuff, like that's pretty neat. Them going out and doing like actual like preseason projections and including those on their new like MLB stage thing, like that's pretty cool. I like that. Commentary is, I don't know, it's commentary. I usually shut it off anyways, but who knows? Maybe I keep it on. I guess the reliever thing, like the pitchers, like that can all be tuned. Will it be? Probably not. Like if I'm being honest, no. I guarantee it won't be tuned. You're just going to be drafting, the CPU is going to be drafting 75% relievers, which is tough, but I guess they'll just have to see how it works out over the course of, and again, I think it's at the mercy of 6 rounds. Because you have 6 rounds, relievers are your biggest thing that you need to, that you're going to have to replace throughout. Usually that's done through like starters who didn't make it, or through free agency. You know, like you do usually take a few pitchers during the course of a draft. So I think that that's kind of at the mercy of being only 6 rounds. This is all good. Like this. I mean, this is fine. The scouting and setting priorities and stuff, that's all good. I think overall the scouting system's actually pretty solid. I still want to see more diversity in players. Because it's like having 2 people that look these guys look exactly the same, just with a different beard. Like they're the exact same person. So having a little bit diversity in there would be nice. This is all good. I like this stuff. Overall, I think the scouting system for the first go of the scouting system is pretty good. Overall, it's pretty good. I don't know. I think it's been good. I think it has been good. Also, the trades looked pretty good too that they showed. Now, whether that stays true, we'll see. I think it is kind of weird that they only do the first. I do like this though. Like, this screen's not bad. Showing the players dressed in the uniform, showing all the information. That's not bad. I think that it could be. Yeah, but I think like first 3 seems weird. Why not do like top 5 or? Yeah, I guess 3's fine. It is something that more than likely you're just going to be skipping through eventually. So yeah, I don't know. Overall, not bad. I think this is a very good change for franchise. You know, is it the overhaul people were looking for? No, but this is a big part of franchise, the scouting and the draft and actually going through and replenishing your minor leagues, your prospect pool. So yeah, this is a great first step.